Evening, everyone. It's 5:36 on Tuesday afternoon, and this is your closing comment video number 1614 for this Tuesday evening. Okay, so this morning the futures were down about 150, came back to down only 50. We moved sideways for a while. We tried the downside, and then we took back up to the upside. We finished pretty darn close to the highs of the day, with the Dow up 186 or 0.6%, Nasdaq up 107 or 1%, S&P up 0.7%. The big winner of the day was the Russell, up 26.74 or 1.5%, and the transports were up $37. So nothing overwhelming there. Some of the things that we talked about this morning that I kept an eye on all day was the Apple announcement that they were going to have their own chip, modem chip especially, and that they were going to cut off Broadcom and Qualcomm. Qualcomm had moved from yesterday's high down to 112, 118 to 112, and it was actually a little higher at the open, sold back down to 114 and managed to close at 116.30, which was up $1.69 or 1.5%. Broadcom, on the other hand, had been as high in the last couple of days as 600 and change, 601 essentially, was down to 568 in the pre-market, actually got down to 550 on the low, and finished the day at 575, down $1.89 or 0.26%. That was all on the Apple news. Tonight, Virgin Orbit, that I mentioned this morning, with another failure to reach orbit, as the name should imply, was down as low as about $1.41. And prior to the open, it was 154, down 39 or 21%. This is a $12 stock not that long ago. It actually tried to rebound and did, in fact, rebound. Where the pre-market low was 141, the regular day low was 150, which is not uncommon because pre-market and aftermarket are very thin. It closed 169, down 24 cents or 12.5%. Again, this is their second failure to launch a satellite and deliver it. This is at the same time that NASA is asking SpaceX if they can go up and get the astronauts in the International Space Station, because of the fuel leakage out of the Russian module that got them there. So, you know, you want to pay $250,000 for a joyride to the quote edge of space? Maybe that's their problem. They can only get to the edge of space. Okay, a couple of companies in the news this afternoon. Franchise Group, FRG, company is selling at 30.20. It has been up a couple of days because there's talk that they're going to go private. However, there's also talk that they want to buy Cons, CONN. This is a stock I have traded a dozen times. It's gone from 6 to 60, back to 10, back to 40, back to $5. Today it closed at $10.80, and that's up $2.08 or 24%, on that news that FRG is interested in buying them. There was a late mover, actually two late movers that I'll tell you about. BIOR. Um, this is a company that really had no news, and the stock is $5.20, up $3.09, 143%. This is another one of those, let's reverse it till we get the price we want. This stock was just reversed one for 25, and that off that $5.20 close today, the adjusted high is 400. It's not like you know, yesterday's 9,265,000 to zip, but it's substantial. There was also news. A company called Pro Kidney, PROK, $8.37, up 137. 14% on a promising treatment in trial, obviously, for kidney disease. And Microsoft, which we mentioned this morning, is interested in buying a bigger piece of Open AI, putting 10 billion into it. The stock was neither here nor there on that news, but it did move back up to 228.77, up 165, or 0.75%, which is an underperformance, really, of the market. But there's a lot of talk around that the stock is cheap. Who knows? Okay, so tomorrow we have mortgage apps at 7 a.m. Usually a down number. Last week's was down 13.2. And then at 10:30 we have EIA crude inventories, and we'll see how that works out. An interesting turnaround today was Coinstar, which announced a 20% layoff, and the stock had traded up to 31 and was back to 37. And so it was particularly weak. But during the day, it did fight back, and after getting as high as 49, it closed. So the range for the day, 37 to 49, it closed 42.96, up 469. So maybe there's something there. Okay, it's certainly down enough. My favorite chart, copper, another breakout. We're getting into this area that I was talking about before, about 410 to 415, but you can't argue with it in the last 2 weeks, or last week's low that occurred in the middle of the night. So I remind you, we have a commodity trading program with Dennis Marlowe, and he actually could buy this in the futures market in the middle of the night using a stop, and seen a move here. We have been from 370 on the low to today's 408. To give you an idea, this is $375 per point. I've mentioned this before, that it's a very highly leveraged large contract, 37,500 pounds, I guess. So when the price goes from 370 to 407, 408, you're talking about 35 or 40 points at 375 each. So just one more reason. Okay, the rest of the futures today, we had another up day in oil, down day in that gas, and I'm beginning to think that part of the problem here is what's going on with all of this information that the Biden administration and several of its acolytes are putting out on the danger of cooking with gas. How 13% of all children who end up with asthma are affected by using a gas stove. In any event, so if everybody up here, where there's some gas, but mostly heating oil, were to start to convert from gas to heating oil was up a dime today. Gasoline was up 3.5 cents. In the metals, we had gold down $1.30 and silver down 20 cents. This was going on. This has gone on for a couple of days. I'm looking at a binary trade here of in the AGQ ahead of the regular CPI and core CPI. Um, Cotton down, coffee down big, sugar up. This is interesting because, as Dennis reminded me today, sugar is one of the most widely grown and traded commodities in the world. So to see it up 47 cents, I want to say that's about 3%, but let me just check. 2.5%, 245. And it has come back down into support. I would have to take a look at this. And let's just go back to the main page. Um, Futures, were higher. Dollar was up. Bonds were down, so higher interest rates, the dollar bounces. Bitcoin up 310, Ethereum up 23. And that's all I have for you tonight. I'll be back first thing in the morning, and we'll talk about that silver trade.